You picture a polar bear, then you picture a tiger. Your brain already picked a winner, most people's does. But the real story is far stranger than a highlight reel fight, because these two animals would never actually meet. Different continents, different climates, different centuries of evolution, solving completely different problems. So the real question isn't just who's stronger, it's what winning would even mean. Start with size. A male polar bear can weigh over 1,500 pounds. Stand him up and he's taller than a doorway. A Siberian tiger, the largest tiger subspecies, tops out around 600 pounds. That's a massive gap, almost 3 times the mass. If this were only about raw weight, the video would end right here. But weight isn't the whole fight. Dr. Ian Sterling, one of the world's leading polar bear researchers, spent decades studying how these animals hunt on Arctic ice. His work shows something surprising. Polar bears aren't built for combat. They're built for patience. They wait motionless at a seal's breathing hole for hours, sometimes days. Their power comes from a single devastating strike, not a prolonged brawl. A tiger is the opposite kind of weapon. Tigers are ambush predators too, but their bodies are engineered for controlled violence at close range. Retractable claws, a bite force strong enough to crush bone, and speed. A tiger can accelerate faster than most cars off the line for a few explosive seconds. That's the counterintuitive twist. Size isn't the deciding factor here. Technique is. Think about the environments that built each animal. A polar bear lives on shifting sea ice in a world with almost nowhere to hide. There's no ambush there, no cover, just open white horizon in every direction. So evolution didn't bother giving the polar bear speed or stealth. It gave it patience, insulation, and enough raw power to end a fight the moment it starts. Every ounce of that 1,500 pounds exists because the Arctic punishes anything less. A tiger's world couldn't be more different. Dense grass, tangled forest, shadow everywhere. Speed and stealth aren't optional there, they're survival. A tiger that announced itself the way a polar bear does would starve within a season, so its whole body evolved around the opposite problem. Not how do I survive open exposure, but how do I disappear until the exact moment I don't need to anymore? Think about how each animal actually fights in the wild. Polar bears fight other polar bears over mates and territory. Those fights are shoving matches, slow, heavy, built to intimidate, not to kill quickly. A tiger's fights, especially against prey like water buffalo or even other tigers, are fast, low, and aimed at the throat or spine. One style is a wrestler, the other is a surgeon. Here's where it gets stranger. Tiger researcher Dr. Ullis Karanth, who has tracked wild tigers across India for over 30 years, has documented tigers taking down prey far larger than themselves. Gaur, a wild ox that can weigh over a ton. How? Not through size, through a single targeted bite to the neck that ends things in seconds. That's the tiger's real advantage, not brute force, precision, and precision has a cost. A tiger's hunting success rate in the wild is surprisingly low. Many attempts end without a kill at all because the entire strategy depends on getting close undetected. One wrong step, one snapped twig, and the advantage disappears. Polar bears face the opposite trade-off. Their success at the seal hole is often just as unpredictable, but when it works, there's rarely a second chance needed. Two very different gambles, both shaped by millions of years of trial and error. So picture the fight properly now. Not two boxers circling a ring, two completely different fighting philosophies colliding. The bear's plan, absorb the first hit, then overwhelm with sheer mass and crushing paw strikes. The tiger's plan, never take that first hit, get low, get fast, go for one decisive strike before that mass ever comes down. In a real encounter, most large carnivore biologists agree the outcome would likely depend on the first 10 seconds. If the tiger lands its signature move, a paralyzing bite to the neck, before the bear can grapple, size stops mattering. But if the bear manages to close the distance and land even one solid paw strike, That same speed and precision the tiger relies on could be gone in an instant. There's no clean answer. And that's actually the more interesting truth than a simple winner. Now here's the mirror. You've felt a version of this same mismatch yourself. Maybe watching a much bigger opponent lose to someone faster and smarter, a boxing match, a chess game against someone twice your size in the wrong sport, or your own dog, barely 20 pounds, standing its ground against something enormous at the park, not because it could win a wrestling match, but because it moves first, moves fast, and never gives the bigger animal a clean shot. That's the real lesson hiding inside this comparison. Nature rarely rewards the biggest competitor. It rewards the one whose entire body, strategy, and instincts are built around exploiting exactly one weakness in the other. Polar bears didn't evolve to fight tigers. Tigers didn't evolve to fight polar bears. Each one is the undisputed champion of its own environment because it stopped competing on every possible trait and specialized ruthlessly in the traits that actually mattered where it lives. So the next time you catch yourself sizing someone up, at work, in sports, anywhere size feels like it should decide the outcome, remember the ice in the jungle. Remember that raw power only wins if it gets the chance to be used, and the fastest, most precise competitor in the room can take that chance away in seconds. You pictured a polar bear, then you pictured a tiger. But maybe the real question was never who would win.